Hey guys, we got theme music this time because this is what I hear every time. every time, every time I think of this book, it's the first thing that popped into my head when I first saw the cover. I've always loved this song, and I think it's probably appropriate for what we're about to do anyway. This is Jamie Hawke.
Hello.
He has joined us today to monitor my interpretation of Psychobitches, tear it up, and man, I'm pretty excited to get into this one, especially since it's first person and I get to be someone else for the entire book.
Yeah.
We have two characters from. Do you want me to not spoil those characters because they're not on the cover or anything?
Oh no, it's fine. My theory on all this is like if people don't want spoilers, they probably shouldn't be listening. And then also, they're gonna forget by the time they read the book anyway. So,
well, we have two characters from the extended, crazy harem universe that Justin has started. Letha from Planet Kill, who Lori Catherine Winkle will be playing, and Chad from Super's X Heroes will also be appearing in this book. So they at least will be joining me. However, I've been thinking about something as I've been. Oh crap!
while you're turning that off, I'll say that the song that some of my fans like to listen to when we're talking about this book is that "Pretty Little Psychos" song by Nightcore does a cool version of it, where it's just like over and over again, like "My pretty little psychos," and yeah. So that's a good one for other people who want a secondary soundtrack to listen to while reading the book.
Oh, it's on this one.
Doesn't sound like it. I don't know.
Oh wait.
Yeah, there we go. It's like kind of like insane, you know?
Yeah.
You can just imagine somebody like going and like shooting guns. You have like a tank girl thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
But
of
it drives you insane after about 5 minutes. So
speaking of Tank Girl, I think you might have brought that movie up before, and like.
Well, I've brought up the comic book before. I haven't brought up the movie ever.
Oh, okay. I've never read the comic book, but I loved the movie. Maybe
it's a fun movie.
Maybe people who are fans of the comic book think it's blasphemy or something. I don't know.
It's just different tonally, you know. It's kind of a little more silly. I mean, like silly in a different kind of silly. Like it's more cartoony versus the comic is like kind of super sexualized. Some level that, like, you know how Game of Thrones HBO made it super sexualized, and the book was kind of there but not quite. Well, they did the exact opposite of that with Tank Girl, where they like took all the sexuality out of it when they made the movie, which is kind of just weird because that's just not. Tank Girl is super sexualized. Yeah, so HBO needs to pick up Tank Girl someday soon. That's my pitch.
Cool. That would be cool. I want to see some more Tank Girl happening.
Yeah. For people who are wondering, that was one of my big inspirations in everything growing up, because like some of the first times I got a job as a dishwasher at 14, like before you're allowed to work legally, and I saved up my money and got some Tank Girl comics. And it was like one of my biggest first purchases, and my parents were giving me crap, like, yeah, why are you spending your money on this trash? You know, so, comes full circle. Now I create trash for you all to spend money on.
Yes, and delightful trash it is, I must say. Okay, so our first task here. Oh, by the way, what I was saying about the voices is, one thing I was thinking about for this book, and sort of changing my mind, like I'm kind of flip-flopping on it, is whether or not I should be doing all the voices for it. I have been told by some people that that's their favorite stuff from Sound Blue Theater is when I'm solo. But you know, there's a lot of other people who really love the ensemble aspect of it. And one thing that I can definitely do while I'm solo is control all the voices, control all the scenes, make sure everything goes exactly how I want it to go. And this book is like so nuts that I think it requires a little bit more control. It's kind of a weird, unintuitive way to look at it, but if I don't have control over it, maybe it won't reach the heights that it needs to. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna try recording it. I'm gonna try all the characters that we're going to encounter. Whoa!
Sorry.
Did you get hit by a baseball bat?
Yeah, it's
Someone's
random,
pissed.
weird.
So I'm going to be, at least for this, doing all the voices for it, and I'll be sending first drafts to Jamie as well to make sure everything's good, and I'll be listening myself too, because I really want to get this one right. And if I don't feel like I'm doing it right, then I will call in the other ladies. The ladies. So first of all, the first character that we need to make sure that we get right is the main character. Like I said, this is first person, and let's take a look at the let's take a look at the cover. I fucking love this cover. Okay, 1 second. Ah! There we go.
Whoa, that was crazy.
Yeah. Psychobitches. Now, can you first of all, tell us about the ladies on the cover, and then tell us about our main character?
Yeah. So this cover, I was actually kind of worried about it. I'll just say real quick too, because the original draft was like much more cartoony and much more looked like it was going to be out of a Sunday morning cartoon comic strip. But when he brought the colors and everything into it, I thought it really popped, and I was excited. So pretty happy here. We have up on the upper left, Sherry, which she took that from Mon Chéri. Sherry, that's where she got her name from. She originally was called something totally different. I'll just give you guys some inside scoop there. It was a leches, which is like tres leches, because her favorite cake was the tres leches cake, and it had to do with milk, and there's some other dirty stuff involved. But as I was writing it, I realized that Letha needed to be in the book, and if I had a character named Letha and leches, that would just be confusing. So I had to change it, and she was going by Sherry sometimes anyway, so it worked out. Then we have on the other side, we have the horned blue skin lady. I seem to like blue skin as a theme in my books. Interesting. I'm noticing. That's, I don't know how you're pronouncing it, but Arupa. I don't know.
Okay. Do you want that R tapped or rolled?
How would you say it?
I mean, I prefer not to tap or roll R's, just from a ease of performance.
Yeah, no, I'm open to it. I hear things in my head, and when I say them through my mouth, it doesn't sound the same. That's why I don't dictate either. There's just some weird blockage that happens right there. Okay. So fingers fine, mouth, yeah. Do it how it sounds cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's our kind of demon lady, and both of them, and the third one that we'll talk about in a second, are kind of criminals. At the beginning of the book, they're known as criminals. The guy in the middle, he's the bounty hunter. So he's an international or intergalactic bounty hunter, and he's captured them, and at the beginning of the book he's off to deliver them to this psycho planet, kind of intergalactic psycho ward, I guess. And the lady in the middle, who is not named Tink, but he calls her Tink all the time because he likes that, and that's fun for me to write in the book. And she her superpower is that she can shrink and grow and all that, but one of the things that happens in the early stage of this planet that they're on is they have a blocker, quencher, they call it, that doesn't allow your superpowers to work. So she's permanently stuck, and he has one on himself too. So she's permanently stuck, permanently. She's for the time being stuck as this mini Tink version of herself, which is kind of fun. And then there's him, Ezra. Ezra is my boy. He's the, as I said, bounty hunter. It was kind of for anybody who reads the blurb, you could probably figure out that he was originally inspired by Judge Dredd. Is that right? The I am the law, isn't that Judge Dredd?
Yes.
I am the law. I'll have the actors do that voice sometime for me, but so that's where he came from, and just wanting to do an intergalactic bounty hunter story. And book one, I won't spoil it for you, but it isn't as intergalactic bounty hunter as much as that's his character and his backstory. But I definitely see book two going more that direction with kind of a Borderlands feel going on.
Okay. Well, all right. So,
that's so fun to watch.
Intergalactic bounty hunter, Judge Dredd inspired. Let me try something. How about we just start off with chapter one?
Sure.
We'll just do a little bit of chapter one, and we will meet Arupa here, and who else?
Until they get onto the ship, it's just Arupa. I don't remember. Let's see.
The madam of the house.
Oh yeah, and then they get to Sherry.
Is it
Sherry, however you want to say it.
okay? Shetty.
That's how I say it because that's where her name came from. But you know,
but do you want me to just call her Sherry?
Either way works. I like the accent personally in my head, but I don't know if it comes across as
we'll tap the R for her, and we'll leave the R Americanized for Aruba.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Aruba.
That way there's not too many tapped R's in my workload. Let's see. All right, so she shows up in here. Both of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Page 3, we got Sherry at least. Maybe into page 2. Looks like page 3.
Wow, and chapter 1 ends with a great scene closer. So why don't we just do chapter 1, and then we'll do the other suggestions that you sent to me. There's one that someone requested something from chapter 12. Said ignore chapter 4?
My mistake. Yeah. So somebody requested a scene from chapter 6 that I thought was the scene from chapter 4. So
okay.
Yeah. So chapter 6 is the one that they requested, that I sent you the opening line to when they get into the bunker.
Okay. So we got 6 and 12.
Yep.
And we'll start with 1. All right.
Sounds good.
There's nothing wrong with psychos, especially when capturing the supervillain variety means filling my bank account with credits. Hell, even better when they look like Europa.
Oops, I said Europa.
Even better when they look like Europa. Full lips, tight ass, and cleavage that could make a man weep. Hot as fuck. You know, minus the horns. Some would point to her blue skin as a negative, but it kind of worked for me.
How's it sounding so far?
Fun.
Yeah? Okay. I like doing this voice.
What gets me through is when one of those damn psycho chicks tries to blow my brains out with titty guns or leaves a mine on my seat, right where it would blow my nuts off. That was the story of capturing Shetty only yesterday. But now she was locked up and I had to deal with this crazy chica as my last stop before heading on to deposit them in the loony bin on Abaddon. Oh, and in case you were wondering, I managed to retain my nuts. All in a day's work for a man of the law. Kinda. Technically, I'm a bounty hunter, but where I'm from, the words are semi-interchangeable. When people speak of Ezra Faldrin, criminals cower. I wore the word police because I fucking brought the law. At that moment, it wasn't exactly proving easy. Europa is basically of the demon type of supervillains. Not a demon exactly, but due to the effects of our sun, Oram, and how it mutated the humans who colonized its system long ago, various supers developed powers. I'm not sure if it was due to blood type or something else in our genes, but many developed similar powers and mutated in similar ways. You have your normal-looking humans like me, some animal...
Oh, God.
Let's get this. Oh, no.
Why is
noises being made? All right. You have your normal-looking humans, like me, some animal-looking ones, like the famed criminal Charm, and then there are the demon ladies like Europa. Some have horns permanently, others can grow and retract them. All very fascinating, right? Considering the fact that she'd just pinned my arm to the wall with her fucking horns as we struggled, they were first and foremost in my mind. Europa let out a scream of frustration as she tried to dig her nails into my jugular. Long and sharp nails, basically claws, while I had my free arm pressing down on her forearm, hand on her other horn to try and wrench her free.
Okay, so Europa, is she bigger? Is she like a...
Yeah, she's more like Xena.
Yeah.
For people who don't know who that is, sorry, Xena Warrior Princess.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself, damn it.
Xena Warrior Princess. You want me to try Xena voice?
I don't even remember what she sounds like, really. Up to you.
I'm not going to that hell, you motherfucker! She grunted as I wrenched her horns away. One good elbow to the face, and then a push kick sent her falling back, but she was stronger and faster than me, so recovered and came back with a series of strikes. While she was quick, I'd spent my youth on the planet known as Xian?
I was thinking Jian, but yeah.
Xian, okay.
Jian.
I'd spent my youth on the planet known as Xian, training my body and mind. A mind that, in fights like these, would sometimes help because of my empath powers. But when everything was in full-on aggression mode, all I got was a sense that my opponent wanted me to die, which feels more like common sense than anything super. Still, my training helped me anticipate blows based on body movement and block them based on muscle memory and instinct. A slash of claws came for my face and I blocked from the outside, landing a blow on her ribs that sent her stumbling back. When she looked up, her eyes were glowing red as a similar glow formed from her hand, smoke trailing up and toward me. Damn, I must have let my Supratech quencher lapse. Hitting the button on the square device at my side, I grinned as the glow vanished from her hand just as she pushed out, leaving her staring at me in frustration. Part of being a bounty hunter for the Orion Corporation meant being able to gain access to the rarest forms of Supratech, or items that had been infused with stolen superpowers. One of the top hunters for Orion Corp, a legendary super named Ranger, had led the effort and was off continuing to build the company's supply of energy and powers. In a way, he was a god among supers, and all of us hunters hoped to meet him one day.
That's cheating!
Irupa growled.
Where's the honor?
Let me get some more water.
Should have named her Europa, huh?
Did I say Europa again? I keep wanting to say that.
Europa.
Irupa.
Yeah.
Europa is a moon of Jupiter.
Ah. Yeah, actually, a lot of these names I end up usually taking from something like that and then just slightly altering so that it has a similarity. So maybe your mind will trigger, we're in space right now. I want it to trigger something like that. Sometimes I'll look up the meaning and be like, that's perfect. And then forget it like the next second. Sure, there was something involved here.
That's cheating!
Irupa growled.
Where's the honor?
You don't get to speak to me about honor, I spat back. Not after all the innocent blood you've spilled.
Define innocent,
she said, then charged. Only, before reaching me, she jumped and pushed off of the stone pillar to my left, propelling herself in the opposite direction, over the counter and toward the door. She was running. Damn it! I shouted, taking off after her. My hand instinctively went to my pistol. But no, that was certain death for her. In this case, death wasn't on the table. Not if I wanted to get paid. Plus, that always ruined the excitement of the hunt. I charged after her, slamming through the doors and out into the street of this swampy planet with its vine-covered domes, bars, and whorehouses, places assassins like her would congregate in. The number of contracts I could likely grab here would pay me for years, but this was always more than contracts for me. This was about getting the really nasty ones. And there was the fact that my ship was about full once I captured her. She was charging down the street, nearly out of range of my quencher, and I considered shooting for her legs. A large man slammed into my side, picking me up and tackling me into the cliff face that much of the town had been built against. He was vaguely familiar, likely someone with a contract out on him who assumed I'd come for him. No time for assholes. I broke his grip and 2 arms down on his and a knee to the crotch. I broke his grip with 2 arms down on his and a knee to the crotch, then blasted him back with a surge of electricity from my arc baton. Scanning for Irupa, a hint of doubt crept in. Had I lost her? She was out of my range by now, and that meant the shadows. I sprinted in the direction I'd last seen her, looking for any sign of ripples in the darkness near others. There were only 2 people on the streets, both Santuri whores, women known for giving you the worst kinds of pain combined with the best types of pleasure. Not my thing in the slightest, but I wasn't looking at them for their skills in bed.
but to see where Rupa would resurface. The one directly ahead seemed like she would have been too easy a choice, so I turned left, going directly ahead. Well, going for the... So I turned left, going for the other. Sure enough, Irupa had materialized behind her and, seeing my approach, cursed. She shoved the whore my way and took off running again. "Don't make me!" I shouted, hand on my pistol and growling in annoyance. She was strong, but I was faster. From what I'd heard about her power, it required a cooldown time, which meant she couldn't use it again immediately. So I moved my hand away from the pistol and put my full energy into my sprint. She was mine. I chased after her until we got to the next corner, and then I plowed into her, the two of us going right through a wall. It broke and splintered as we landed on a large, circular bed, and screams filled the night as nude women sprang up around us, running for safety. A man with an erection lay there, a piece of splintered wood stuck into his leg. He yelped as he shouted, "Oh yeah, keep it going!" before realizing this wasn't part of the famed Santuri system, and he was actually bleeding. "My apologies," I said, pressing Irupa to the bed as I bound her arms behind her.
All right, is this Shetty, the madam of the house?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
What the fuck is this?
The madam of the house shouted, charging in to see the broken wall. Meanwhile, the man was staring at his blood seeping out onto the bed and starting to hyperventilate. "Finish him off and consider yourself lucky I don't bring in your whole clientele," I replied, then did a quick scan of her. Not worth much in the bounty hunter trade, but she had a price on her head. Seeing me and the word police across my chest, she took a step back, motioned to her women, and walked off. As I pulled Irupa up and stuck her with a needle that would pacify her long enough to get her out of there, 3 women went back to the man and started working him while one dealt with his injury. The mixture of screams and moans wasn't abnormal for this place, but that didn't stop it from giving me a creeped-out chill.
Fuck you,
Irupa managed, as she stumbled out of there with me shoving her along.
"When this wears off, you're..."
The next words came out in a slur, but were likely meant to be a death threat or something of the sort. "You're dead" was about as common in my line of work as my cup of coffee in the mornings. That thought got my cravings going. Maybe some Sumatran dark roast. I shrugged it off, because if I gave a shit every time my life was threatened, I'd be all out of shit. And honestly, the idea of that man having his bloody orgy was still making me feel so uncomfortable and grossed out, not much could have gotten through. Others emerged to glare at me as we passed through town, but nobody acted. Cowards, too often concerned about their own necks to band together as a group and take me on. Good for me, at least. Bound and gagged, I dragged Irupa onto my ship. It wasn't a large craft, but big enough for 6 cells, the last of which she was about to occupy. The outside was fitted with 2 sets of blasters on each wing and 1 main turret at the base, a typical Orion Hunter ship with police blue and red I'd painted on. That wasn't standard, and most of the other hunters didn't embrace the law enforcement angle like me, but most of them were bastards to begin with. I wouldn't be surprised if I were hired to take in half of them in my career at some point. Irupa grunted, trying to say something, but I shoved her forward through the dark passage that led to the bars of the remaining cell.
All right, Shetty. Okay, so this one is gonna be a little tough. So she is like a little more spazzy, right?
Oh yeah. She's, yeah, I mean, Tank Girl / a little bit of Harley Quinn / a little bit of Jinx, League of Legends.
Okay.
Kind of put all that together and then come up with something original. Have a baby. Those 3 have a baby. What's their baby sound like?
All right, let's see what we can do with this one.
"Holy fucklicks!"
Sherry said as we passed her cell. She stood from her toilet, panties still around her ankles, but with a miniskirt that fell to keep her as decent as could be, and grinned.
Got you a demon lay, huh, big guy? Hold those horns tight when she goes down on you, in case you need to yank her back. Sharp teeth and all.
That grin spread even wider. I glared, hating some aspects of my job. While Irupa was a criminal and definitely not of your normal mindset, Shetty was batshit crazy. She wore her blue hair and pigtails and a very revealing red outfit with torn fishnet stockings. The left breast of her outfit was adorned with a cute yellow smiley face that stood out against the bright red. A heart was tattooed under her right eye, along with permanent eyeliner on each side with a vertical line that went up and down, giving her a sort of clown look. She also had a tattoo on her left arm that said, "Love Stinks." When I'd taken her in, she'd fought me with a sword, which in itself wasn't crazy, but I had to wonder about the small teddy bear chained to the end of the hilt. Another grunt came from Irupa, and she pushed off as she tried to charge the cell, but I held her in place by the shackles, earning us a high-pitched cackle from Shetty.
Oh, feisty to boot,
the crazy lady said.
Maybe I'll get a piece of her when you're done.
Shut the fuck up, Shetty, I said, pointing at her with my arc baton, letting electricity flow from it to show her I wasn't afraid to give her a good shock. I put the criminals in their place. Since I honestly hated having to hit them, this worked as a last resort. Sherry's grin faded and she flipped up her skirt as she turned away, giving us a nice view of the moon. With a sigh, I pushed Irupa on. The others were either sleeping or not caring to get involved. They knew their fate was sealed. When we arrived at the third cell over, I opened it with a hand scan and shoved her in. "For the record," I said, as the gate slid shut, "I'm not like that. Any cop who takes advantage of their prisoners deserves to be put behind bars with the rest of you." I gestured her forward and removed her gag.
Then I know a lot of cops who need to be put in their place,
Irupa said as she worked her jaw and turned to have her restraints off.
Tell you what, I'll make a trade. You let me go, I'll give you all the names of every dirty, rotten hunter out there.
"Not happening," I said, already walking away. "And you'll get your restraints off when we're airborne. Nothing personal, just have to make sure we're out of here without any problems first." 1 second. More water.
Water break.
A couple of hushed curses followed me, but nothing further. That was more than I could say for the others. Brock in Cell 6 still had marks from the bars on his face when he tried headbutting his way out, and Shetty had nearly dislocated a shoulder trying to fit through the bars. It never would have worked, but she did manage to get one shoulder and a boob through before yelping in pain and requiring my assistance to get back through. Ever had to shove a tit through prison bars? Awkward, to say the least. I'd since decided to activate the electricity on the bars, though I hated to. Every once in a while, I'd get a real whack job who wouldn't let up, regardless, and the whole ship would smell of burnt flesh by the time it was over. Plus, arriving with dead or even nearly dead cargo didn't pay nearly half as well. Especially now, according to the charts I'd seen come in through the comms. Reason being, apparently they were going to start a new program, one where they would introduce some of the more adept criminals into the system on the other side of the planet. A contained reality show, in a sense. While I dealt with capturing supers and delivering them to a no-powers-allowed facility, the planet boasted various uses for these criminals, worst of which was a black market show not available to supers, but apparently broadcast to sick Earthers and their type. Supers like Irupa would never be sent into that mess because of their looks. Humans in the Milky Way weren't supposed to know such mutations existed. There were those who were aware, but the majority of them had been fed a line of propaganda that they were all that existed in the universe. A line of propaganda that they were all that existed in the universe. Were there more than them and us supers? Well, were there more than them and us supers? We were, after all, merely humans who had been changed in the many years. blah, 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 blah. We were, after all, merely humans who had been changed in the many years since colonizing Oram's system. I had no idea if there could be more out there, but if they were so ignorant of us, I had to wonder what I, in turn, might be unaware of.
Okay. Maybe I can, start learning how to read English here.
I had no idea if there could be more out there, but if they were so ignorant of us, I had to wonder what I, in turn, might be unaware of. Shetty would most likely be one of those sent out to fight an Abaddon, so she was worth a pretty penny. Rupa would likely be treated in the insane asylum, kept there for testing. Both would be sucked dry of their powers, left as husks of their former selves, and their powers would be used for making new supratech. That is, unless they could be somehow convinced to join Ranger's army and work for Orion Corp. It happened, the rumors said. And then there was my newest pet, a recent capture who I wasn't sure I wanted to give up. A super who could change size from large to small and back again. I'd caught her with the Quencher when in small form, and that's how she was now. I kept her in a little lantern next to the controls in the cockpit. Her real supervillain name had been Flyer, but that sounded stupid. I decided to call her Tink, based on an old story that had been passed down through generations, kept alive by the earliest settlers from Earth. She had the wings and all, and truly hated being referred to as a fairy. But hey, what fun was there in capturing ruthless killers if you couldn't antagonize them while debating their fates? Entering the cockpit, I tapped on the glass to wake her up and shrugged at her glare. All ready to make the delivery. I thought you'd like to know.
All right, so Tink, do you want a high-pitched voice, or do you want her to have a normal voice?
I think normal. Let's say
Okay.
Julia Roberts, huh? When she played Tink in a Hook. Can you get that?
Let's see.
I wonder what you sounded like. People who criticize these books as being what do they call them? Fantasy something or other. It's just male fantasy, whatever. Yeah, that's why they're so fun. We get to write whatever we want in here.
Say it, Peter. Say it and mean it.
I believe in fairies.
Do you know that place between sleep and awake? That place where you still remember dreaming. That's where I'll always love you. Peter, Peter. That's where I'll be waiting.
Okay, I think I can do this. She kind of reminds me of my Andrea voice from Super Sales.
Huh.
Super Sales, not Supers. All right.
Eat me. Eat me.
She said groggily from where she lay curled up on the bottom of the glass. As much as I could actually do that, sorry, fairies don't sit well in my stomach. That woke her up, as she flew at the glass, punching it twice before stopping to hold her fist in pain. When her powers were working, she maintained her regular strength even when small. Thanks to my Quencher and the backup on board, that wasn't the case at that moment.
Fuck you!
She said. Real creative. Uh-oh.
I'm still on the I'm still on Discord. I will. I'm gonna leave. Sorry, Will. Didn't mean to cock tease you. All right.
Fuck you!
She said. Real creative. I thought fairies were supposed to be mischievous. Shouldn't you have some better insults in you? This time, she sat back down, folding her legs up to her chest, and ignored me. Suit yourself, I said, bringing the ship to life with a roar. It's going to be a boring flight if you don't want to chat, though. Silence. With a sigh, I took off, shaking my head as I wondered for the 100th time why I'd gotten into this line of work. Of course, it was for the sense of duty I felt, wanting to be part of Orion Corp. To one day live up to legends like Ranger and the others. There was the payday, sure, but it was more than money for me. If I made this delivery, I might get the chance I'd been looking for. A chance to go on a mission with Ranger, to truly make a difference on the front lines. All I had to do was keep my eyes open, my wits about me. Get in, deliver the prisoners, and get out. I was determined not to let anything go wrong because it was my time to shine. Boy, was I in for a rude awakening.
Woo.
All right.
What's fun is one of my readers read this book before the other books, before all the Supers books, and listening to it now, I think it sets up the world in a way that totally works for that. So I think it's kind of interesting to read it, especially just this first chapter first, and then go read all the other books. And be like, whoa, wait, what? And then come back and read the rest of this. That'd be interesting. But he really liked it. I talked with him later after reading all the rest of them, how it went for him, because I was wondering if it'd be confusing in any way or how it changes the experience. And he actually had a great experience doing it that way. So for people who are wondering, go ahead and jump into this if you haven't read Supers. That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to do that before the audio comes up, the Amazon link for the Kindle version is in the description below. And actually, I totally forgot. Maybe I'll do it. I'll do it at the end of the. Never mind. I'll do it at the end of the stream. But Jamie, please don't let me forget the sponsor.
Okay, cool. And real quick on that, by the way, I had it out of KU because I was doing a giveaway through my newsletter.
That's right.
But I just put it back into KU. So
yeah,
for people who have KU, that's yay.
Hurry up and pick it up. Pick it up while you can, guys. All right. So, and if you keep it all the way to when the audiobook comes out, assuming that it does, I mean, half the time our whisper sync doesn't work anymore because because our effects. Our sound effects and music and stuff sometimes interferes with it.
Interesting.
So we try and keep it down lower, and like we kind of have to experiment with what makes it, what doesn't.
Yeah.
But if it is still whisper sync while you have it on Kindle Unlimited, then you'll be able to get a discount. Like it'll probably be $7.50 on Audible instead of $15. So okay.
That's cool. I didn't know it worked like that on KU. Some books get KU audiobook downloads for free too, which I guess those are all traditional mostly or something. I've always wondered about that.
Yeah, I don't even know how that works. It kind of pisses me off, actually.
Yeah, I talked to Risa Walker. She was on my podcast once, and she had that, but she was published through Amazon, I think, at the time, like 47 North or something. So of course you get whatever you want in that case. Right. But I've talked to Podium and Tantor, and they don't know how to do it either. So.
Yep. Okay. Well, all right. So next is chapter 6. Are we starting right at the beginning of chapter 6, or is there a quote that I need to?
There was a quote. I think it's in our messenger.
Okay.
It's let me see if I can find it.
She frowned but mumbled.
There you go.
There it is. And who is she? She is Shetty. No, wait. I think that's Irupa. Now we didn't. Yeah. Are we going to find out what Shetty's voice or Shetty's power is in this scene?
This scene. You know, I think we did in the other scene that I'd said we should do, the chapter 4 intro. It's like somewhere in that area.
Do you want to do chapter 4 first?
Could. Let me see.
We can go to 2:30 for you if you want.
Either way, yeah. To be fair, I think we intro her powers, but then like you kind of find out more about how her powers work throughout the book because she's never like she's kind of never totally upfront with it, and B, she's kind of spoilerish. She's kind of crazy enough to not really know how they work. So,
okay.
But yeah, she has her theories.
She has her theories.
Yeah.
About herself.
Well, she knows what they do, but she doesn't know why they do it, I guess I should say.
I see. All right, so you want to go back to 4 or just keep going with 6?
Either way, let's see. 4 is kind of fun. It's like a nice little moment between the two of them, I think.
Okay. Where do you want me to start? At the beginning of 4 or?
Sure. Let's see.
Okay. We'll start at the beginning of 4 and then you just tell me when to stop.
Okay, let me scan down for a second here. I just tell it gets.
You can like panic. You can be like, stop!
Yeah. Well, there's this onion moment. There's an onion moment that I like, but I don't remember how far down it is. I don't know if we want to go that far. Let's see where the onion is. Maybe we can get closer to that as a starting point.
Onion? An onion moment? What does that mean? Oh, like a tearjerker?
No, they just mentioned an onion, and I thought I like that little scene right around there.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's down in chapter 4, though.
Literally onion. Okay.
Yeah, should have been more prepared on this. Sorry, guys. Yeah, literally onion.
Okay.
They talk a lot in this part, so it just kind of keeps going with them going back and forth. And you get a little backstory on Ezra and what he's done to get to this point, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, just go till it feels wrong, or I'll go like this and be like, "It sucks now. Stop. This is embarrassing me." Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can't see you in the text at the same time, so you have to scream in my ear or something.
Sure. You can feel it. Feel it out. If I feel it, I'll call it.
All right.
Physical contact had a way of making my powers stronger, even sometimes bringing some of the toucher into my mind. As an example, in this case, Shetty wasn't the least bit scared. More excited. It was like we were on a roller coaster and she knew the amazing fall and loop-de-loops were coming. While some people would piss their pants at those loop-de-loops, it turned her on, made her want to scream and throw her hands up. To my relief, that same emotion was passing into me at the moment. A bit of her craziness maybe, but hey, it was only temporary. Soon we were able to walk faster, then a slow jog, and I found I didn't need her help, but was very curious as to why I'd received it. "What's happening here?" I asked.
Pretty sure your side's losing,
She said.
A famous inmate, one they call Muerta, orchestrated it with some help. But a group of supers is chasing her down and...
No, I mean you, here. Why are you helping me? She looked at me like I was the crazy one and laughed.
Because we're friends, silly goose pimple.
I think it's just... Never mind. Friends?
You wouldn't have helped me back there otherwise.
She grinned, pulling on one of her pigtails and pointing to the smiley face on her tit.
You made me happy.
The visual wasn't necessary, but it wasn't bad to look at. I turned away, eyes going wide with the realization that I might have just absorbed another emotion from her, if you could call horniness an emotion. Apparently, my helping her hadn't simply made her happy, it had turned her on. Or something along the way had. "Listen," I started, trying to think of an excuse to go our separate ways.
Yeah?
She slowed, looking at me with confusion. But as I thought about it, she'd proven herself valuable, kicking those two supers' butts back there. And so what if she was horny or making me feel the same way? I wasn't about to act on it. I was stronger than that. I was Ezra fucking Faldron, the law, not some teenage boy prone to acting on his every whim. My eyes drifted back over to the smiley face, though, and the cleavage above it. Certainly enough there that if I tore off her shirt and grabbed hold, I'd have more than a handful each.
You feeling okay?
She asked, and I was about to ask why as my eyes rose from her breasts, but just then hit a tree. Damn, that hurt. I stumbled back, collected myself, and then cursed. Shit, I said, turning back toward where we'd come. "We need a plan."
I thought you had a plan.
"Me?" I frowned, shaking my head. "I've been following you."
Following me?
She laughed out loud.
Sugar butt, following me will just get you in circles every time. Trust me, I'm me, so I know.
Okay, can we just... I gestured to the side of the hill, looking around for any sign of pursuers. She shrugged and looked at the hill, kicked at the dirt to make a bit of a seat, and then sat. Interestingly, I noted how she kept her legs together like a lady.
What is it?
She asked. You're here with me. You're supposed to be in the asylum. She beamed.
Isn't it funny how life works out sometimes?
Her fingers started twirling her blue hair.
I mean, ever since you captured me, I've gone back and forth on wanting to gut you or fuck you, and here we are.
Her smile Okay, I'm losing her voice a little bit. Let me drink some more water.
Yeah, with this deep voice and then the high voice, I'm like, this is a challenge for you, I imagine. It's good. Accept challenges.
Isn't it funny how life works sometimes? I mean, ever since you captured me, I've gone back and forth on wanting to gut you or fuck you. And here we are.
Her smile continued as if she'd just explained everything. Have you settled on one or the other of those? She laughed.
Of course. I don't want to gut you.
The implication was, therefore, the alternative. Sometimes feeling emotions bothered me. Like that very moment. She was clearly aroused by me again, and I couldn't say I wasn't feeling the same back at her. Putting my hands up to my mouth, I remembered my temple training, focused on blocking everything else out. Concentrate on the moment. Let it happen. If we stay put, they might find us. Then we're dead, I pointed out. Not scared by it, but noting the likely truth. If we move, the chances are probably similar, but not if we get into hiding and figure out how we're going to beat this.
What you're saying is... I lost my place in the book.
Oh, it's probably a good spot. I was thinking like we were at the point where they do go into her powers, but it is in this chapter just later. So I started scrolling along to see how far later, and it's pretty far later. So we wouldn't get to that just by going through it.
Chapter 6. All right, so that's a little cock tease scene there. All right. Ah, here it is. She frowned but mumbled. Okay, so now this is, I think, Arupa. Because she's the super strong one, right? She's prying a door open. She frowned but mumbled.
What the hell? Why not?
And stepped up to the door. Prying her nails inside, she got her fingers partially around the door and gave a mighty heave.
It actually worked,
she said, looking down at her arms and marveling. With a glance back to us, she said,
Maybe the quencher's on the fritz?
Yeah, maybe, I said, and followed her in. The place had 3 small rooms, the back, too, separated by a hallway. All of the walls and even the floor were metal, giving the impression of a large air duct. No lights, only the dim glow from slits along the top that acted like windows, though it would have been quite annoying when rain came, if ever. I'd often wondered about the weather on Abaddon, knowing it was controlled on the Chaos Zone side. So why not over here? They had other ways to keep the trees watered, surely.
I just forgot. I need to look at where it's supposed to end. Chapter 6. Oh, it doesn't say. All right, so you tell me.
Okay, we could do like before.
Yeah. We made our way to the back of the second room, exhaustion taking over, and I mumbled about wanting to sit for a minute, to maybe rest my eyes. Shooting in the distance became like a rhythmic lullaby. They continued to explore, and when I opened my eyes again, Shetty was squatting close enough to reach and touch me, staring. What? I asked, my empath powers getting some seriously interesting patterns from her.
What we'd said. You know, take care of them, get somewhere private, and...
She didn't even bother to say the rest, but started undoing the red, semi-concealing body armor top. It fell to the floor with a clank, leaving her breasts fully exposed. I almost expected to see that same yellow smiley face on her left tit. But no, just two perfectly shaped, perky breasts. Her nipples were darker than I'd expected, making me wonder if her hair was naturally dark. I often found a correlation there. It wasn't until she moved that the light caught on metal and I realized the left nipple was pierced. Sexy, in a strange way, but also made me think of pain. Wow, was all I could think to say. It had been too long since I'd been with a woman, and the sight of breasts in an intimate way was really pulling at my libido, which was in turn pleading with me to act. She grinned at me.
Your turn.
We're really doing this? I glanced around to ensure we were alone, torn between hoping we were and weren't. Where's Arupa?
You want her involved?
She asked. No, that's not what I meant.
Maybe next time. This time, I told her she was on first watch.
I gulped. Hey, I was part of the team now, wasn't I? One of these psychobitches. One of these psychobitches. Maybe with Arupa now as part of the team too. Still not totally sure I was making the right move. I undid my protective vest, then my overshirt. Finally, I pulled off the white undershirt and stood there, watching her eyeing my muscular frame with anticipation.
Should we stop there? There's not much dialogue in the following parts, and I feel like the dialogue is the fun parts. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right,
let's
now
do that
12.
one. Yeah, that's the one that one of our readers requested for sure, and I think she even had a good stopping point on it. So
Oh, yeah.
organized. Good job.
All right. I stepped up, a hand on her lower back, and then no doubt about it. All right, so this one has Letha. I will not be doing Letha's voice. This will be Lori when we get to it. The actual audiobook, but I'll do my best, Lori. I'm sorry. Lori would not do this. Yvonne Sin is I think that she's done with her volcano fiasco, but she's on a flight to Aruba now. So she couldn't be on SBTL. All right. I stepped up. I'm assuming this is the beginning of a paragraph, but maybe not.
Which part?
I stepped up.
It's mid conversation.
Okay. Wonder if I can search on this. Nope. Fuck. If you find it, let me know what the beginning of the paragraph is.
Well, so it's the beginning of a paragraph, but it's part of a conversation. So that's just
Oh,
like
okay.
the action marker before the line. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm just looking at all the.
There's like a setup
indentation.
paragraph that comes before that that says we walked on for a while, passing a side route that might have blah 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 blah. And then they start going into conversation, and there's like a half a page of conversation before this.
I'm feeling dumb.
Oh, what's up?
Where is this? I nodded. It's like, ooh, it's all, and if that's agreed, held out my machete. Letha furrowed her brow as we went. A hard time that earned her really stepped up. I stepped up. Right?
The hand on her lower back part, is that the one we're doing?
Yes, I found it. Okay.
I stepped up, a hand on her lower back, the other on her shoulder. You got this. I'll guide you.
And this is Irupa?
Nice and gentle.
She said with a forced smile.
It's my first time and all. Through a wall.
It was hard not to laugh at that, but I was here to offer comfort, so I stepped aside, focusing on the emotions again until I could see the light guiding me. Damn, these level-ups were awesome. Here, I indicated, voice hushed, and veer off to the right slightly.
Do I kill it?
She asked, voice cracking slightly. We all looked at each other, none of us sure how to answer that at first.
If it's one of their soldiers, you have to,
Sherry said.
A regular employee. At least knock him out, or he might raise the alarm.
And if he comes to? I asked.
Fuck,
Irupa said.
I mean, if they work here, they know what's going on, which means they're complicit. So yeah, death,
Sherry said. Chetty said.
But if it's a monster?
Set it free, I suggested.
Might be brainwashed, confused,
Irupa pointed out.
Might try to kill us as soon as run for freedom or join our fight. Get in there. Try to not pay attention to what it is, and go unseen,
Letha said.
Then none of this matters. Then none of this matters. Then none of this matters. Just find the door and open it so that we can get a move on. If that's an option, I'll go for that,
Irupa said, and took my hand, giving it a quick squeeze before moving on, standing next to the wall and saying,
Here goes.
Darkness took over, surrounding her, then engulfing her. She was gone, a shimmer in the darkness near the wall, and then I was able to see a second emotional light, but much darker. The fright of the first one peaked suddenly, then went out completely, leaving only Irupa. Then she was out of range, and we were left staring at a metal wall, not knowing what could be happening to her. We waited long enough that we were all shifting, starting to think the worst. Shetty cleared her throat, looked about to say something, and then pursed her lips in thought. After another moment, she stepped up next to me, taking my hand in hers and pressing our bodies together. Honestly, I needed it as much as she did. I felt responsible, and if anything happened to Irupa, I don't know how I'd live with myself. Then again, it might not be a long life in that case anyway.
She's going to be fine,
Letha said, her voice barely audible. Ironic, coming from her, since she was the only one of us standing there who didn't have special powers that helped her know things like this. But we accepted it, hoping for it to be true.
I got it. What was the last line?
Okay, no doubt. A wall rattled ahead. Not far off, but enough of a distance that my quencher wasn't offsetting the planet's mega-quencher. We all tensed, emotions of worry and excitement coming from the ladies. I had both pistols at the ready, eyes fixed on that spot. Another rattle of the wall, and then there was a clang and it was open. Irupa stumbling out. She was grinning, blood on the claws of her right hand.
Guard,
she said.
Or he was supposed to be guarding. Caught him whacking off to this.
In her left hand was a small expandable screen, which she tossed over. I caught it and immediately wished I hadn't seen what was on the screen. A woman whose lower half was like an octopus, her tentacles helping her cling to a wall, as several of her black octopus arms penetrated men who yelped with pleasure. Sick fucks, I said.
Who are you to judge?
She replied with a wink, but then frowned.
Of course, if she's one of their prisoners, then yeah, sick fucks.
She glanced down at her bloody hand and tilted her head, then added,
Glad I killed him then, especially if that's true.
I swiped the screen to get rid of the tentacle porn, came across various other options, including something that looked like a large, hairy man with huge feet, various forms of human animals, and even a mermaid going down on bathers. Deleting all available, I was about to toss the thing when I noticed a beeping on my wrist that said, Download data? Maybe this thing wasn't just for porn, I thought. So clicked out and found parent menus, including one with maps. Holy shit, I said, then hit the accept button on my wrist device before tossing the little computer to Shetty. Maps. She frowned.
I was hoping to see the other stuff.
At my look, she said,
Joking, joking. Maps are cool.
Embarrassment was seeping from her, so I tried to ignore the empath powers for a moment, at least in relation to these ladies. It seemed a bit of an invasion of their privacy, especially when it came to her professed interest in watching tentacle porn. Arupa waved us on and held the door while we entered. It wasn't like last time, where we'd gone through what was probably a main entryway. Here it was darker, with mechanical debris lying around that looked like discarded parts from old trucks and ships. Here and there were boxes of explosives and strange vats of liquid, possibly leftover chemicals related to the hybrid creation process, I figured, and best left alone. The ceiling was about 20 feet up, made of metal like the rest of this place, but for some scattered barely working lights.
So he was jerking off right there?
Shetty asked.
Yep. He had the screen propped up, one hand on his gun, the other yanking on his dick so hard I thought he was going to tear it off. He looked terrified, too, which was weird. Maybe he was masturbating as a way of dealing with stress? I don't know. But either way, he saw me, shot his wad, and tried to pull his gun on me just as he was coming. Weirdest thing I've ever seen. Before he'd even finished, he was dead. What a way to go, though,
Shetty said, shaking her head. She turned to me and said,
If you ever decide to kill me, make sure it's in the middle of an orgasm. Deal?
I'm not going to kill you.
But for argument's sake, if you were going to...
Wouldn't happen, Letha chuckled, shaking her head.
You all are strange, no doubt about it.
All right.
Hey, do you want to do a section that shows how the stats and leveling up kind of things work and actually
sure.
talk a little bit about their powers?
Yeah.
Okay, I found one. Basically, it's I don't know what's happening. I admit it. More crazy. Yeah, and I could give you guys a setup for this one too, which is if you can find it, I'll just give the setup while you look for it. So it's I don't know what's happening. And the setup basically is they've been, there's this big rebellion going on at this place. People are breaking out of the asylum. Things are happening. And our crew has just found, if I refresh my memory, has just found a Citadel ship that they went on to get some equipment. And they found these outfits that they can put on that they don't know if it'll work for them, because if they're not on the Citadel side, they're basically powered by a super who can affect these outfits from far away. And so if they're not on the supers side, on the side of the Citadel, which is this group of supers who've basically taken to, keeping the galaxy safe and defeating the supervillains, then this wouldn't work for them. So that's why at first they're not totally sure if it will work.
Okay. And what chapter did you say it was?
Let's see. It starts with I don't know what's happening, I admitted. And that's in chapter... toward the lower part of chapter 8.
Chapter 8.
So going back slightly.
Okay. And you said the beginning of the sentence was?
I don't know what's happening, I admitted. Or we could go to the one after that where it's just blink and wish to see your stats. And then that just goes for about a page and a half, I think. Yeah, 2 pages.
I feel dumb. I can't find it.
Oh,
it's my fault. I just need to...
Oh, what's that? It's the last 2 pages of chapter 8.
All right, there it is. Okay.
I don't know what's happening, I admitted. More crazy?
Fuck you,
Arupa said.
Just blink and wish to see your stats.
That's what I did, and sure enough, I saw what had made them so excited. First, there was a screen that showed various aspects about myself, assigning levels of skills and abilities. It told me that my strength was a 7 on the scale of 10, my speed a 9, and verified me as a Tier 4 super, which had always annoyed the hell out of me. But I knew it had to do with how powerful we were and therefore was valuable in some strange class sense that was bullshit. What I wondered was, were the stats starting points that could go beyond 10? Or was that the max? I was guessing they could go beyond, and that excited the hell out of me. At the bottom left, it had a line that read, Empath, Quick Draw and Aim. Upgrade? I reached out with my hand, confused about how to interact with these screens, but sure enough, they stayed in place and I was able to click on the upgrade option. A new window showed, with options for how my powers could be enhanced or upgraded. It seems to be gauging our current levels and powers, I said, and then somehow it enhances us? Like an amplifier power?
Ezra, Ezra, Ezra,
She said, moving around in her screens, though I couldn't see them. Somehow we could each only see our own screens.
you don't seem to realize that you brought a knife to a gunfight, and all along you had the equivalent of a mech warrior with a nuclear core. Really fucking cool.
Shetty chimed in.
Like we were getting darts thrown at our faces from the heavens. Now the gods are all jizzing on our... Too far.
Irupa stopped her.
Know when it's too far. Okay? Hey, you like mechs? I like god jizz.
Seriously, she's right, I said, agreeing with Irupa. But Shetty just shrugged and went back to her screens. I did the same because I was fascinated. The later levels didn't give me the details of what I'd achieve, but level 2 mentioned being able to expand my ability to sense attacks and enhance my range. Both sounded intriguing. Nothing related to my gun handling yet, but then again, I was about as good as they came at that, so it figured. What do your upgrades do? I asked them.
Isn't that a bit personal?
Irupa asked, but had a hint of a smile. Meaning you won't tell me? She shrugged.
You know about my shadow strike, the one I almost used on you when you were taking me in. It's kind of all bullshit, more like giving someone a bad burn, but I built it up in stories over the years. Well, that might not have been the case for much. That might not have to be the case for much longer.
No shit? She smiled wide this time.
We just have to live long enough to level up, and we'll find out. Also, my other skills look like they have promising upgrades. I'd imagine a tier 3 has plenty of badass skills.
Shetty said, frowning.
You've got your thing,
She said, glancing my way. Shetty can hear voices, I said, trying to talk her up, but when the words left my mouth, they didn't sound as cool as I'd hoped. I mean...
And other things,
Shetty said, waving off the comment and giving me a glare that I took as a sign to shut up. Well, anyway, this is going to kick ass, I said, making sure we had all the grenades, ammo, and blades we could handle, then making sure the rest was better hidden. We were just about to head back out when my empath power picked up on hostility. Whoever's in there, get your asses out here now! A man's rough voice called from outside the ship.
Guess playtime's over,
Irupa said, swiping away her screen as I did the same.
You kidding?
Shetty said. I keep doing it. Shetty said, licking her lips and moving her sword around in a practiced kata form.
Playtime's just getting started.
All right, no Scooby-Doo this time, huh?
No
Okay.
Scooby-Doo.
You need the team for that.
Yeah, I need the team. Definitely need the team for that. I can't handle Scooby like Annie can. Holy shit.
Yeah.
So yes, that was Psychobitches, guys. I'm gonna be started recording this very soon. Right after I'm done with Hero of Thera. That Hero of Thera got kind of postponed because of all the gear stuff I've been doing. I've had to prepare my house for getting that new booth and kind of rearranging my life a bit. So yeah, I'm back on track now. Hero of Thera will be done by, I'm hoping, Monday. maybe Tuesday. I think Tuesday I'll be finished. And then when I move into my new booth, as you can see, I'm still in my old booth. Once I move into my new booth, this will be the first book I start on. So
Sweet.
Psychobitches.
Yeah.
Go pick it up on Amazon. It's on Kindle Unlimited right now. Check the link in the description below. And don't forget, we are sponsored by Studio Bricks. Sponsor. The best booths on the market, to be perfectly honest. They're the most stylish and they are the easiest to put together. I had guys put it together for me and I recorded what they were doing. So I'm going to have a video up on YouTube here pretty soon, probably in the next couple of weeks, once I have everything set up in there and I can give you a complete overview of what I got going on there. But Studio Bricks, I've been using this. This is also a Studio Bricks booth, and I've been using it for the past 2.5 years now. So it's been really good to me. It keeps the noise out perfectly, and this is still just a 2-layer booth. They have 3 layers, which keeps even nuclear radiation out. I don't know if that's true, but it might be. So that's another reason to buy the booth. You know, if you're like a prepper and you want something super duper safe in your what do they call them? Bunkers? Yeah. I have one. Well, I have 2 at the moment. This one is going to Annie, so she will be a Studio Bricks owner. And Will Watt, our new narrator, also has a Studio Bricks booth. And I'll be buying probably 2 more, 2 more this year, because I'm expanding the business into bigger and better things, and we will need more booths for it. So studiobricks.com. You can find the link at the bottom of the description below. And yeah, that's it for anything that I have to say. Jamie, you got anything else to say?
Yeah, so let us know what you think about this book when it comes out on audio and of course now on ebook. Like I mentioned, when it first came out, I thought people were not as excited about it, but it turns out I think it was Amazon screwing with the idea of not liking Psychobitches in the title and also labeling it as a harem. So I double shot myself. And then it just kind of has done great since then. And I've had a lot of people emailing me saying they love it. So I got much more excited and started thinking about where could book 2 go, and then hearing parts of it read out loud, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So I actually haven't started writing book 2, but I have all these ideas in my head and I'm going to get on it pretty soon. But I love hearing your thoughts, you know, because it's not fully formed. Like I mentioned, it's going very much in line with what we see here. Obviously, there's going to be this whole bounty hunter aspect going on, but there's things in book X Heroes 5 that totally set up where it's going as well. And so we'll have all that coming into play with the kind of Borderlands wackiness deal going on. So psychos galore.
Psychos galore. Psycho bitch. Okay. One last thing, guys. No, 2 last things. If you liked this video, please like it on, there's a little thumbs up there. If this is your first time here with Sound Booth Theater live, we have tons of videos now. We have like more than 160 by now, I think. So subscribe to our channel. You can go binge on other stuff. And you will get notifications when we have new videos on the way or starting up. Also, if you liked this particular story and you like this audio style, check out Supers X Heroes and Planet Kill. Those are both Jamie Hawke stories that we have on Audible currently. I think Supers X Heroes 3 should be out wait, that's already out, or no? It's going to be out any day now. Supers X Heroes 3 is going to be available on Audible. So, and I mean, you've got Supers X Gods. There's plenty of Audible stuff by Jamie Hawke already available. So go munch on those while you wait for this one to come out. And I think that's it. Yes, that's it. Okay. Oh, so that's right. Someone asked, is there anywhere I can see new releases from Sound Booth? Go to our website, soundbooththeater.com, and sign up for our newsletter. You'll find out then. All right. Later, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thank you, Jamie Hawke, for hanging out. And excited to get started.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.